What's up, everybody? This is Dr. Zeb, and welcome to the Rehab Christian Center Tuesday night virtual experience. I'm grateful to be here with you tonight, and certainly prayerful that wherever you are and wherever you are tuning in, that you are blessed and that everything is going well with you and everything concerning you. Listen, thank you so much for tuning in at this special time tonight. It's 8:08 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, and so for many of you, it's just 7 o'clock. And so we actually have some folks on the East Coast as well. You're just getting off work. But we really appreciate you tuning in tonight and sharing with us tonight this Q&A on fatigue. This has been an amazing series. If you've been tuned in, I believe you would agree that this has been one of the most powerful series we have had in quite some time. And I am just grateful that all of you have been sharing so much feedback regarding the series and how it's been a blessing to you. And that's always really good to hear. If we're not giving you things that are going to help you grow and challenge you, then we're not doing our job. And certainly we can ensure we're doing that by just hearing God. And so I'm grateful that you've tuned in and that you shared the great feedback that this series has done for you. 5 things destroying your life. It's been an amazing series, very practical series, but a very powerful one. And we're going to continue tonight, Tuesday, with part 2 of what we could not get to on Sunday. And then I'm going to open it up for about 15 minutes of Q&A, and that's going to be it tonight. And so I don't plan to keep you on until 9 o'clock. I promise you I actually have more work. I've got my Sharpie and my materials, and I've got more work to do when I finish broadcast tonight, but I would not dare miss tonight. I'm just grateful to be here and grateful you've tuned in with us to share with us. So let's walk through the networks. I want to walk through all of our networks really quickly and welcome everyone from all of our networks. We're on all the networks tonight. As we're doing that, make sure you say good evening in the chat area. Speak to everyone now that you're here, and then go ahead and start hitting that @ symbol and inviting as many people as you can to tune in and join us and share with us tonight. All right. Facebook, good evening to you. Those of you that are tuning in via Facebook, welcome. Thank you so much for joining us. Thank you for being with us tonight. If you're watching on Facebook, do me a favor. I want you to like this video. If our ministry has been a blessing to you, I want you to hit that like button, hold it down, turn it to a love button. I want you to hit that share button, hit the @ symbol, and then I want you to tag 5 of your friends on your friends list and tell them to tune in. Once you do that, you're going to bless somebody's life. You're going to be an impact on somebody's life just by sharing this video tonight. And so I want you to do that for me in that order, Facebook. And of course, make sure you say good evening in the chat area. We would really greatly appreciate that. Instagram, good evening to you. Those of you that are tuning in via Instagram, welcome. Thank you so much for joining us and for being with us. Do me a favor, fill it up with hearts. Let me know that you're tuning in. And then those of you that are on Instagram, make sure you hit that @ symbol in the chat area, in the comment area. And I want you to tag 5 or 6 of your friends on Instagram and tell them to tune in. Been so impressed with Instagram. We've had such great attendance over the last couple of weeks since the start of this series. And I'm really thankful for those of you that tune in via Instagram that have been sharing the broadcast, that have been hearting the video, that have been sharing the broadcast. It is because you have been sharing it that other people and so many people have been impacted through this series on Instagram. And so thank you, Instagram, for all of you that have been sharing this, especially this series. It's really been a great impact. All right. So say good evening in the chat area, hit that @ symbol and start inviting people now. We're going to get through this Q&A, 5 things destroying your life. And tonight we're going to continue with fatigue, and it's going to be powerful. YouTube, where am I? YouTube. Good evening to you. Those of you that are tuned in via YouTube, welcome. Thank you so much for joining us tonight, for sharing with us. If you're watching on YouTube, make sure you hit that subscribe button. You can find us on YouTube at TheREHABCC. Just go to YouTube, type in TheREHABCC, and you can find us there. Click on our page, hit that subscribe button, hit the bell notification icon so you can be notified every time we go live. And also, if you're watching on YouTube, make sure you say good evening in the chat area as well. Really have been noticing our views actually ticking up on YouTube as well since this series has started. This series has been an amazing series, clearly, and it's certainly been timely for so many people. And so if you're watching on YouTube, hit that share button. I want you to share this video to your other social media sites. Send it to someone's email if they're not on social media. But tell them to nudge them and tell them to come on, because this is going to be good. I've got 2 powerful bullet points to give you, and then we're going to open it up for Q&As. Let me go ahead and put that on the screen now. If you want to submit a question regarding fatigue, you can email your question to info@rehabcc.org and put in the subject line fatigue. Right? We've been doing this for the last 3 the last three words, right? And so we did it for forgiveness and bitterness, and we're doing it for fatigue now. But if you've got a question regarding fatigue, you can email your question to info@rehabcc.org and put in the subject line fatigue. And we won't reveal your name. We'll read your question and we will give you a biblical and spiritual answer to your question regarding fatigue and how you can, of course, apply the information to your life, which is really what life study, Bible study is really all about. And so, again, if you've got a question, you can submit it to info@rehabcc.org and put in the subject line fatigue, and we're going to get to your question. All right, now let me just get into this because I don't have a lot of time. Again, I want to get you off by 8:45, 8:50 tonight. I promise you not to keep you long, but I don't plan to be finished until I'm through. I want to share something with you because Sunday, the key word for Sunday was the word surrender, right? If you were watching Sunday, the key overarching theme, and we dealt with a lot of different things, but the overarching theme was surrender, right? And it's this idea that God could not get Elijah to surrender. He was more worried about running from a woman who had no authority. And I really wanted to just teach on that. I ain't had time to deal with that. But that's a message by itself. He was more concerned about a woman who had no authority than just surrendering and allowing God to fight his battles. And I left you with this thought, and that is sometimes we don't need a miracle. We need some sleep, right? Sometimes we don't need a miracle. We need some sleep. And that, in fact, that many of you are so worn out from life and work and career and relationships and all kinds of things that as you have become fatigued in your life and weary in your life, your mind has failed you and your spirit has failed you. Again, and I said this Sunday, we don't fall asleep with our eyes first. We fall asleep with our minds first. When your body goes into a physical state of unconsciousness, the closing of the eyes is a reaction to what has already taken place in your brain, in your mind. And so it is my challenge and appeal to all of you to consider and to be a little easier on yourself. If you've ever had thoughts of quitting in this season, if you've ever had thoughts of giving up in this season, to consider that maybe, just maybe, it's not that you're not anointed, but maybe you've had thoughts of quitting just because you need some sleep, right? Just because you need some rest and you need to take the opportunity to really revive yourself. And in reviving yourself, you find purpose. I've discovered that when I revive myself, I'm on a little, somewhat of a rest period now. And going to be on an official one in a couple of weeks. And I've discovered that anytime I go on a rest period, it always gives me a chance to rejuvenate myself. That's something I didn't do well pre-pandemic. Many of you knew me pre-pandemic. You were part of Rehab pre-pandemic, and I never took a break. I didn't. But the pandemic and really life taught me the importance of really rest and what rest does. Especially to those of us, and I'm talking to all of you who have a purpose on your life, who have things that you have to accomplish in your career, in your business, in your family. And it's critical that you are clear-minded when you're focusing on your purpose. You need to be clear-minded when you're living your life and taking care of your responsibilities. And again, we are easy to be hard on Elijah in this story because he ran from a woman. We're easy to be hard on him. But there's another side to this story, and that is that he perhaps underestimated the power and the impact of rest. That in fact, when the angel touches him and tells Elijah, listen, eat this food. Why? Because you're going to need strength for the journey. That is an indication that if we don't get rest and we don't take care of ourselves, we do not have strength for the journey. And so I want to give you, because I see some people have already mentioned they can't wait to hear the rules. Where I left off is here. I want to give you 4 rules of rest that have helped me, that I know will help you, and they're also biblical. All right. I'm going to give you 4 rules of rest. I'm going to give you one more point, and then I'm seeing questions pop in. So this is good. We've got some questions tonight. I'm seeing questions pop in, and we're going to hop on those questions, and then we're going to be done. All right. But I want to start off by giving you 4 rules of rest. All right. And this is going to be powerful. And I could not wait to share this. All right. Rule number one. All right. And this is an easy one. Never underestimate the power of rest. All right. Never underestimate the power of rest. That's rule number one. Right. We've been talking about that. It is through rest that we have the ability to rejuvenate ourselves spiritually, emotionally, intellectually. We have the ability to reset where we are by embracing rest. You hear it every week when we do the broadcast, and we go through our declaration: flights, boats, vacations. It's more than just taking a girls trip, guys trip, couples trip, whatever. It's more than just that, as much as it is understanding that when you give your body the opportunity to rest, you give your body the opportunity and your mind the opportunity to remain clear, so that you don't fall asleep on the wheel when you're pursuing your purpose. And that's what happened to Elijah. It wasn't that he didn't have a purpose. He needed some rest, and he fell asleep at the wheel, and he allowed the frustrations of life to cause him to question the purpose that God gave him. Right? And we can never, ever, 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 ever allow life's frustrations to cause us to question the purpose that God's given us. We can't let people cause us to question the purpose that God's given us. We can't let circumstances cause us to question the purpose God has given us. Sometimes these things can simply be reset with rest and resetting your mind and your spirit and your energy so you can be where you need to be. Number two, second rule of rest. You ready? Never make major decisions when you're tired or stressed out. This is good. Never make major decisions. I told y'all this is going to be good. Folks are going to regret missing tonight. Never make major decisions when you're tired or stressed out. I have learned from personal experience that you cannot mess up your destiny when you can take a nap. Some of you have messed up your destiny because you needed a nap. You needed some rest. You needed a chance to reset yourself. Never make major decisions when you're tired or under stress. Never do it. And this is the thing. Elijah had a major decision in front of him, that he had the king's wife wanted to kill him. He just defeated over 500 prophets. He found himself running from a woman who did not have the ability or the authority or the power to be able to stop him. But he made the decision to run because he was stressed out. He made the decision to flee because he was tired, and the people. He was tired of coming out of, he just came out of one battle. He was about to go into another battle. So I want to suggest to all of you, sometimes we all mess up when we make decisions under stress. Have you ever made a decision, you were tired, and you made a decision and you took a nap, or you woke up the next day and was like, oh my God, I got to honor what I said I was going to do. Why did I tell these folks I was going to go to dinner? Why did I tell these people I was going to hang out? And it's because you were tired. You were stressed. And you should never make decisions. Now, that's obviously, going to dinner ain't a major decision, but you get my point, right? You never make a major decision when you're stressed out. You got to make sure that you rest and take care of yourself so that you're clear-minded on every decision that you make. And when you do, it doesn't mean that you're going to get every decision right. But one of the things that I can guarantee you is that if you make decisions with a clear head, you're going to feel better about the outcomes of your decision either way, right? So you don't make decisions when you're tired, when you're stressed out. Let me add something else to you. You don't make decisions when you're mad. Come on, y'all. Y'all talk to me. We're not going to be on long tonight. You don't make decisions when you're mad, because when you make decisions when you're mad, your feelings and your negative energy are always involved. And there's a great chance you're going to say something you regret. You're going to do something you regret. You're going to decide something you wish you could take back. And you should never make decisions when you're upset. When you're going to make a decision and you're upset, or you're going to make a major life decision, I have learned from personal experience that it's better for you to pause and take as much time as you need to consume that decision, so that when you make the decision, whether it turns out great or it turns out bad, you can live with it. See, when we pause, when we make decisions and we're stressed out, but we make decisions while we're stressed out. No, when we're stressed out, but we pause until we stop being stressed out so we can make a decision. when we make that effort to clear our heads, what we do is we ensure that we can make a decision, not necessarily that's going to be perfect, but we can ensure that we've made a decision that we can live with. See, it's easier to live with your decision making when you made a decision with a clear head. When you ain't made this, when you've made a decision without a clear head, long after you made that decision and your temper has cooled down and your emotions have cooled down and your stress levels cooled down and you ain't angry and mad no more, it's hard to go back and then reset the decision you made in the heat of the moment, right? And so we've got to be careful. We've got to be careful not to make difficult, challenging, tough, or really, I would say any decision for that matter, while we're upset. You got to learn how to pause, take a step back, gather yourself so you can make a good decision. Here's number 3. I'm giving you the 4 rules of rest. Number 1, never underestimate the power of rest. Number 2, never make major decisions when you're tired or stressed out. And I don't want y'all to forget that again. Don't mess up your destiny and purpose when you can take a nap. All right. And number 3, look at this. Never make rest the goal. Make your purpose the goal, and God will give you rest. That's a mouthful. I want to say it again. This is the 3rd rule of rest. Never make rest the goal. Make your purpose the goal, and God will give you rest. I want to say it again a 3rd time. Never, when it comes to your life, never make rest the goal. Make your purpose the goal, then God will give you rest. Never make rest the goal. Thank you. Make your purpose the goal, and God will give you rest. What are you getting at, Dr. Zed? Well, the Bible tells us in the book of Proverbs, right around the 12th or 13th chapter, it says that we should not love sleep, because when we love sleep, poverty is going to show up. And it's going to show up like an armed robber, which means it's going to show up and we didn't even expect it. Why? Because you ever met people who just love to sleep, who just love to rest, who just love to lay around? They're lazy. They don't want to work no jobs. They barely got one job. I'm not talking about you working multiple jobs and you sleep when you get a chance to sleep. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about folks that don't want to work. All they want to do is sleep. They sleep to 12, 1 o'clock every Saturday, Sunday, some weekdays. You cannot make rest the goal. You've got to make purpose the goal. And see, Elijah was so tired and so stressed and under so much stress that he thought the answer to getting out of the stress was getting some rest. The answer to getting out of the stress was sticking to his purpose. His purpose was to be the prophet that God called him to be and to stick to that. Are y'all listening to me? And see, we think, and this is good, because you can take that flights, boats, and vacations thing out of context. Well, I'm stressed out. Pastor said, we like flights, boats, and vacations. So let me go take a vacation because I'm stressed. That's part of it. Yeah, you can take a vacation when you're stressed out, but that doesn't mean you discount your purpose. That doesn't mean that. And so we can't make rest the goal. We got to make purpose the goal. And when you make purpose the goal, God will then give you rest. He'll create opportunities for you to rest. And we have it backwards. We get stressed out. We make rest the goal and we put purpose on the background. No, your purpose has to continue regardless of how tired you are. Your destiny has to continue regardless of how stressed you are. The thing that God's designed you to be, to do, to have, your business, whatever, those things have to continue regardless of what it is that you have going on in your life. And so we don't make rest the goal because we don't want poverty to sneak up on us. The Bible tells us a man, woman doesn't work, he don't eat, right? So you can be tired all you want to. But I know this as a parent, and I know many of you understand this too. When I hit that alarm, when that alarm goes up at 4:28 in the morning, as much as I want to roll over, hit the snooze button, or a better one than that, get up, throw on some sweats, take my kids to school, come back to the house and get in the bed. As much as I want to do that, the reality is if I don't work, the lights don't stay on. If I don't work, their pre-teenage appetites don't get fed and they can eat. And so if we don't work, we don't eat. And so that scripture is not just connected to the beauty of having a work ethic. It's also connected, if you really think about that scripture, it's also connected to this idea that if you stay on your purpose, you'll also eat. right? Whatever your purpose is, if you stick to your purpose, you're going to eat. You stick to your purpose, you're going to rest. If you stick to your purpose, you're going to be renewed, right? And so we got to make sure that we don't fall in love with sleep. Got to make sure that we don't fall in love with rest. We can't make rest the go-to when we're stressed out. We can't make rest the go-to when things are going on. Yes, I know a nap, and science actually supports this. Science supports the fact that nothing resets your mood better than a nap. Ain't nothing wrong with a nap. I think the worst injustice the school systems did is taking out naps. By the time you get about that third, fourth grade, they take naps out. I think grown folks ought to be able to take a nap at work. I think everybody ought to get a 30-minute nap incorporated into their workday, where we have sleep rooms where you can go in and you can get your 30-minute nap, because nothing resets. Naps can reset your mood and energy. But understand this. When it comes to your purpose and when it comes to sleep, sleep can never outweigh purpose. Rest can never outweigh purpose. I'm not telling you you need to wear out, but I'm telling you you need to stick to your purpose. And if you stick to God's business, he'll handle your business. Are y'all listening to me? If you stick to handling God's business, he'll stick to handling your business. What's your business? Making sure you're sustained, making sure you're fed, making sure you're rested, making sure you're able to sleep, making sure you're able to have the energy for the assignment. I can't tell you, especially in this during this pandemic, when we ended up virtual, I can't tell you many times I've cut on these devices to do this broadcast, and I was just beat down, tired. I was beat down, tired. But I had to press play anyway. I had to press live anyway. I had to press through. Why? Because at those moments, my purpose was greater than my need for rest, than my need for sleep. And then what God does is God then sends you help, and he sends you opportunities where you can get rest, and he makes up for it if you stick to the purpose. All right. Here's the fourth rule of rest that I want you to remember. I don't ever want you to forget, and that's this. Okay. And I somewhat kind of gave it away just now with that example. You ready? Never use rest as a way to avoid your problems. Use it to reset your spirit. Never use rest as a way to avoid your problems. Use it to reset your spirit. Never use rest as a way to avoid your problems. Use it to reset your spirit. Okay? Never use rest as a way to avoid your problems, but use rest to reset your spirit. We don't go to sleep thinking we're going to sleep our problems away, right? You don't go to sleep thinking you're going to sleep them away. The reality is you got big problems for real. You can go to sleep, but when you wake up, they're going to be right there. And if they time-sensitive problems, they're going to be worse. And if you got to feed them kids, going to sleep ain't going to solve it. You need to go out and find you some money, right? Right. So when you got time-sensitive issues, especially in time-sensitive challenges, sleep ain't going to solve your problems. And so people try to rely on rest and sleeping to try to avoid problems, not realizing that makes sometimes the problems bigger. You should use rest to reset your spirit. If you can't pay your bills, when you go to bed at night, I'm not telling you to stay up all night and try to figure it out. That's not what I'm saying. Right? Pray about it. Ask God about it. Ask God to send you resources, creativity, and creative ways to go about making more, to do whatever it is you need to do, and then go to sleep. But watch this. When you go to sleep, you're going to sleep to reset your spirit. So hopefully, when you calm and we need, it should also reset our spirit so we continue forward, right? So that we can continue to press forward in our purpose, continue to press forward in the things that God has given us, all right? So again, I don't ever want you to use rest as a way to avoid problems, right? We don't use rest to avoid problems. We don't use sleep to avoid problems, but we use rest and sleep to reset our spirit. So when we wake up in the morning, we had a hard day at work, we had a hard night, whatever. We wake up the next morning, we've rested, we prayed before we went to bed, we've given it to God, we've handed it over, we've journaled, whatever it is that you do. If you're into journaling, you're reading, whatever it is that you do, you've done those things. And then when you wake up in the morning, you should wake up with a renewed spirit. You should wake up with a renewed energy. You should wake up with a renewed peace about your situation. All right. Now, I want to say this quickly, and then I want to open it up to questions. I've got a few questions, it looks like, maybe, and then we're going to be done. I want you to record this. This is the last point I want to give you tonight. Fatigue will never be an excuse to avoid your assignment. I want you to record it. Fatigue will never be an excuse to avoid your assignment. Fatigue will never be an excuse to avoid your assignment. Okay, how tired you get, you can never use fatigue as an excuse to avoid your assignment. Dr. Zeb, I'm tired, man. People have gotten on my nerves. Church got on my nerves. I'm worn out. I just got too much going on right now to focus on my purpose. I got too much going on to focus on my business. I got too much going on to focus on my ministry. I got too much, going on to focus on this, that, my relationships, my marriage, whatever. Got too much focus on to worry about that, to deal with that. No, if those things are your purpose and your assignment, fatigue should never be an excuse to avoid them. You cannot use fatigue as an excuse to avoid the assignment God's given you. Find you some rest so that you can get some physical rest, but so that your spirit can be reset for the journey that is ahead. Okay? Because just because you're resting don't mean you can stay in rest. Some of y'all want to vacation 12 months a year. You can't vacation 12 months a year. I'm probably preaching to myself right now. I wish I could vacation once a month. But you can't. You can't vacation 12 times a year. Unless, you can afford to, you don't have to work, and then maybe you can. But even still then, if a person could afford to vacation 2-3 times a month, at some point, they're going to need a purpose to remain alive, to remain invigorated, to remain focused, to remain goal-driven, right? To have something assigned to their life that's bigger than just taking a vacation, right? And so you want to make sure, this is so critically important, you want to make sure that you never use fatigue as an excuse to avoid your assignment. Never use fatigue as an excuse to avoid your assignment, right? Because again, people will annoy you, life will annoy you, life will frustrate you, Negroes will frustrate you. But that same energy you use, yes, that same energy you use to go to the jobs you hate is the same energy you got to use to honor God in hard times. Somebody need to hear that. That's the last point I'm going to give you before I answer some questions. I want to say that again. The same energy you use to go to that job you can't stand, to work around them people don't like you, to work with that supervisor you do not like, the same energy you use to go to work every day, that job that you don't like, is the same energy you got to use to honor God when times get hard. It's the same energy. And see, we make excuses with God. Well, they ain't paying me to come to church. They ain't paying me to honor God. I get paid to go to work. I have to do that. You got to take the same stance when it comes to honoring God. Because see, we sometimes look for ways out when things get hard in our lives, ways out to not continue to honor God with our purpose, or not honor God with our assignment, or not honor him with the things that he's called us to do. No, the same energy you use to go to that work job every day when things have gotten on your nerves is the same energy you got to use to come to church and continue to honor God and honor God in your purpose. It's that simple. There are no excuses that can be made to stop honoring God and honoring the purpose he's given you. You don't have a right to make an excuse. Does this make sense to anybody? All right. I want to open it up to questions really quickly. I only see one here. If you've got a question, hurry up and submit it because I want to shut down in about 8 minutes. And so I'm going to try to run through whatever questions we have here. Man, has this series been a blessing to anybody for real? If it has, fill it up with hearts. This has been an amazing series for me. I'm telling you, I really, truly enjoyed this series. And it's been a powerful thing. I like I see a comment from YouTube. It looks like God made the world in 6 days and rested on the 7th. Rest easy, brother. Absolutely. Even God rested, right? We have to understand the importance of resetting. But that didn't stop God from getting up on the 8th day and getting back to work. Are y'all listening to me? Right? He got up on the 8th day and he kept on working. Right. And so it's so critically important that we do not become overwhelmed and consumed with this idea of rest. All right. So if you got a question, email it info@rehabcc.org, subject line fatigue. All right. Let me walk through these really quickly. I only see one right now. So if you got a question, hurry up and send it, because I want to get through these, and we'll let you go tonight since we started a little bit later. Great question here. When you experience physical fatigue, is it related? Okay, I'm sorry, I misread how it was written. When you experience physical fatigue, is it related to spiritual fatigue? Possibly. Possibly. The Bible says the way of a transgressor is hard. And the old saints used to say that all the time. You know, the way of the sinner is hard. And what they meant by that, and it's a biblical verse, it's scripture, is that when you have spiritual battles going on in your life, it will wear your body down. You know, some people are tired because they're running from God. Some people are tired because they're not walking in their purpose. You know, God called you to do some stuff, and you running in the opposite direction, thinking you're gonna run away, and then you wonder why you have poor concentration. You know, you always tired, you always sleepy. You know, you moody, you all these things, and it really ain't got nothing to do with the fact that you're in a spiritual battle. Spiritual warfare is a really real thing. And I think this is an amazing question, because a lot of the fatigue that so many of us experience, and I want to take this question a step further, not just physical fatigue, emotional fatigue, spiritual fatigue, I said fatigue, emotional fatigue, spiritual fatigue. Did I say fatigue again? Emotional fatigue, spiritual fatigue. A lot of this fatigue is based on spiritual battles that we're facing, spiritual things that we're up against, right? And so I absolutely agree with that question. And that question brings up a great point. And that is, we've got to make sure that the fatigue that we experience physically in our bodies is not in relationship to things like disobedience, not obeying God, not going in the direction that he wants you to go, right? As you continue to kick against the direction that he tells you, that exerts your energy. That energy being exerted ruins your peace and disturbs your peace, which in turn plays again on your energy and how you feel physically, emotionally. Why? Because you just won't be obedient. You know God's called you to start that business, and here you are still going to this job every day that you can't stand. When you've got all the ideas, you've got the business plan has been approved, and we're just waiting on you to step out of fear. And so you're exhausted every day. You're mentally drained every day. Why? Because you're not walking in the spiritual purpose, the greater purpose that God has given in your life. So yes, when we miss out on our spiritual connection with God, it can bring about a great fatigue. And I think that's a question that I think can really bring some insight into what Elijah went through, because Elijah experienced physical fatigue because spiritually he was worn out. He had just defeated all those prophets. They tried to show him up. He was worn out, and spiritually, and as a result, he ended up being physically tired, running from this lady, to the point where he stopped his purpose in the name of rest, right? And it caused him not to be able to go further with God. He did great things. We're going to talk about this next week, but it caused him not to be able to go further with God because he allowed his fatigue to stop him in his tracks, right? So yes, when you're physically fatigued, it can be a reflection of spiritual fatigue. Great question here. Good. I see another question on Instagram, because that's the only one I see so far. You got 3 minutes to submit your question. I want to try to run through them as you submit them really quickly. Don't want to keep you long tonight. Thank you so much for your flexibility with my schedule tonight and allowing us to tune in later. Actually, I see another question. Good. What practices would you recommend to implement in your day-to-day life to help you rest if you are experiencing a spiritual, mental, or physical fatigue? That's an outstanding question. One of the things that I think is good is journaling. I'm an avid journaler. I can't talk tonight because I'm hungry. I'm an avid journaler. I journal every single day for the most part. I might miss a day or two in a week, depends on what's going on. But I'm an avid journaler, and I think one of the keys to making sure that you are more at rest, even if you have to be active, is journaling, right? Journaling your thoughts, journaling your emotions, journaling how you feel, journaling the things that you want to accomplish, journaling the things you're grateful for. I think gratitude is the key to staying rested. I find myself every single day, for the most part, now I'm switching something up where I'm doing it at night now. because one of the things that I've learned is that when you journal, normally I wake up in the morning and I journal 5 things. I journal different things, but then I'll write in the corner 5 things that I'm grateful for every single morning. And it's not hard to think of things, but I'm learning that if you journal 5 things you're grateful for every night before you go to bed, as a recap to your day, even if you had a hard day, one of the things you can be grateful for is the fact that you survived, right? So one bullet point becomes, I'm grateful that I survived such a tough day. And when you do that and you journal those other things that you're grateful for, you find yourself going to bed with your spirit reset from all of the negative things that have happened in your day. So journaling at night before you go to bed, is such a powerful thing, because it really causes you to reset, especially if you've had a bad day. It really causes you to reset your ability to get over the negative things in your day, and it brings your spirit to rest. I'm not explaining it well. Let me explain it like this. If you've ever been in a situation where you've had a bad day, you've had a tough day, and when you were getting ready to go to bed, the things that happened in that day were just wearing you down, right? They were just sitting on you. It was sitting in your spirit. You were just having just a hard day, right? Because of everything that you experienced. Well, one thing that I've discovered is that a way that you can actually reset that is by actually journaling and writing 5 things you're grateful for on that day before you go to bed. Because what it does is it causes you to go to bed with your mind, your spirit, your emotions, your energy reset from all of the negative things you've experienced in that day. And so that is something that has really helped me when I've had rough days. Before I lay down, let me just write down things I'm grateful for. Listen, it ain't been a great day, but let me write down the things that I'm grateful for right now in this moment. And it brings me back to the moment that I'm in. It takes my stress level, brings it way down. I jump in the shower, I put my eye mask on, and I'm out of there, right? And so try that. I think you will see that. I think another thing that helps you rest when you're experiencing spiritual, mental, and physical fatigue. This is practical. I think dieting and exercise helps. I think when you already have a stressful life, you've got maybe a stressful job, maybe you got stressful things going on in your home, maybe you're going through stressful situations in your life. When you couple all of that stress with not exercising and not eating well, you're going to be worn out. You're going to have an itis. Every time you eat, you're going to have an itis. All of that stuff. And so I would suggest to you that you also, from a physical standpoint, when we talk about physical rest and feeling better physically, I would say to you that working out and eating well also are really critical keys to helping you experience or avoid a lot of heavy physical fatigue. Listen, I have a hard day. I got a hard one tonight. I'm gonna be up for a few hours tonight working, and I got some reading to do and some things that I'm working on. I'm gonna be up for a while. But let me tell you something. When that alarm goes off at 4:28, even if I've had maybe like 4 or 5 hours of sleep, if that, sometimes 3 hours, I'll get up. It may take me a second to shake the cobwebs off, but I'm able to get back into it. Why? Because I've laid down. I've been able to reset my energy. I've worked out the day before, tried to eat well that day. I've taken care of myself as best as I could, my body physically, and it's kept me clear and alert. And so I want to encourage you to do that as well. And that's a very practical thing, right? But I agree with you, Dr. V. It's all connected to everything. All right. I saw another question. Yeah, and it does. It provides a great outlet for emotional release and spiritual clarity, man. I've been working on some things, journaling some things, and I've been working on some things for me personally. And nothing brings about clarity like journaling and really resetting your thoughts. Not just through journaling, but obviously through prayer. You all should be praying, right? You should be praying at least every morning when you get up, maybe every night before you go to bed. You should be praying. Should be meditating, right? You need a moment where you can sit in the corner somewhere in silence and think about nothing but that moment, right? And get locked in that moment. It really helps you to focus in your day and live in the moment of every moment of your day. You should be doing these things because it helps to bring about, again, physical, we talked about exercise, mental, we talked about journaling, spiritual, it brings about balance of all of those three things. Okay. Last question here. I want to know what constitutes a spiritual battle or fatigue. That's a great question. I think when you are battling something spiritually, it's going to be more than just your physical body being tired. A spiritual battle does more than just attack you physically, right? The question that came earlier talked about how, when you experience physical fatigue, could it be related to spirit? Yes, eventually, because when you've gone through a spiritual battle for so long, it can eventually weigh you down physically, right? But it's not always the same on the other side, right? It's not always the same when you reverse it, right? You can go through a spiritual battle that doesn't necessarily wear you down physically if you're able to recognize, hey, this is a spiritual battle, and we don't fight spiritual battles with physical weapons, right? The weapons of our warfare are not carnal, they're mighty through God, through the pulling down of strongholds, right? Casting down wicked or evil imaginations and anything that comes against the knowledge of God, right? It is this idea that we have to understand that a physical battle can become a physical battle as a result of a spiritual battle if we don't handle the spiritual battle well, all right? And this tends to happen to people who have been dealing with spiritual battles for a long time, and they have not handled those spiritual battles, and eventually those spiritual battles then creep into how they handle themselves emotionally and creep into how they handle themselves and how they feel physically, right? And in other words, when you don't deal with it as a spiritual battle, when you need to deal with it, it can creep into other areas of your life. And so for me, I think that's the difference, right? A spiritual battle does not have to become a physical battle, but can become a physical battle if we do not handle the spiritual battle the appropriate way. All right. Great question there. Listen, y'all, this bless anybody tonight for real. Y'all don't play with me. Did this bless anybody tonight? Did anybody receive anything from any of this tonight? I really hope this series has been as much of a blessing to you all as it has to me. I've really enjoyed it. I've enjoyed teaching it. I've enjoyed sharing things that have been a blessing to me personally, but also that God has led me to teach and share with you. And one of the things I make no apologies about is really the transparency by which God gives me the words that he gives me, the lessons that he gives me. Yes, it's grounded in the word, but sometimes it's just grounded in my own experience. And while people get nervous about being transparent, feel some kind of way about transparency, I embrace it because I've discovered that we are overcome by the blood of the Lamb and the word of our testimony, not just us, but so many other people are going to be free by the things that you have experienced in your life and your courage to be able to share them with as much transparency, but at the same time, discipline as you can, right? I think they cut out testimony service in church because people started standing up and telling all their business, right? You can be transparent without telling all of your business. But I really believe that transparency through our testimony helps to really free people who may be going through difficult times. And so I certainly hope this series has been a blessing to you. Listen, 30 seconds. You got a prayer request? I want you to type it quickly. I want you to type your prayer request in the comments right now. If you're watching live or watching the replay, type your prayer request. If you got a prayer request we can't read, you can email your prayer request to info@rehabcc.org. That's info@rehabcc.org. I want to thank all of you that submitted questions tonight for submitting your question. You can email your question to info@rehabcc.org and put in the subject line prayer request. And we will see that and make sure that we respond to your prayer request in a tremendous way. Again, you can email your prayer request to info@rehabcc.org or type your prayer request in the comments right now. And because we're getting ready to pray at this moment. All right. If you've done that, I want you to connect your hands like this as a sign, as a symbol of faith. We're getting ready to touch and agree so that God can answer your prayers. All right, let's do it. Father, in Jesus' name, I thank you tonight for your word. Thank you for this time of gathering you've given us. I thank you for this time of sharing you've given us. It is my prayer, God, that something was said that has challenged somebody, that has encouraged somebody, that has maybe even convicted someone to take a second look at the fatigue they've been experiencing experiencing in their lives, and to get to understand the root cause of that fatigue so that they can grow stronger in you and continue forward in the purpose that you've given them. God, we don't want to die pursuing our purpose. We don't want to faint or quit pursuing our purpose. But we want to be able to pursue our purpose even when we get tired, even when we get fatigued, even when we get restless. We want to be able to pursue our purpose and be able to depend on you to give us rest for the assignment. God, it is my prayer that somebody tonight who's watching, who feels tired, that tonight, God, this week, you would give them rest for the assignment so that they can continue forward to see what the end will be. Now, God, for every prayer request that's been typed in the comments, every prayer request that's been emailed to our inbox, every prayer request that's deep in the hearts of someone, so deep that they don't even have the strength or the courage to muster it out. God, we lift those requests up to you right now. And we ask, God, that you would answer the prayers of your people as only you can, that you would make ways as only you can, that you would meet needs, open up doors as only you can, that you would touch the hearts and the minds of your people, and that you would encourage them that the best thing they can do right now is to wait on you. God, teach your people to wait on you while you work things out on their behalf. And God, we will continue to praise you. We will continue to give you glory. We'll continue to give you the credit that you deserve. It's in Jesus' name we pray. Amen. Listen, if you prayed that prayer of faith, I want you to type in the comments quickly. It is so. Hurry. It is so. It is so. God's answering your prayers. God's making ways. He's opening doors. He's meeting needs. I absolutely know it to be a fact. Come on, type it in the comments quickly. It is so. It is so. It is so. It is so. Yes, I'm praying for you. I'm praying for your family. Those of you that's got family issues and health issues and relationship issues and career issues and children issues, all kinds of issues. I'm praying that God restores peace to your life, that you feel the presence of his peace in your life, regardless of whatever it is that you're going through. We know him to be a God of peace and to be a God that can bring peace to any situation. So don't you faint in this day of adversity. God's going to bring you out. Listen, I want to challenge you quickly. If this message ministry broadcast has been a blessing to you, I want to challenge you to give. You can give one of three ways. You can give via CashApp, $REHABCCGIVE. You can give through our website, www.REHABCC.org, and choose online giving. Or you can text REHABWorks to 336-642-3210. That's REHABWorks to 336-642-3210. Again, you can give via CashApp, $REHABCCGIVE. You can give through our website, www.REHABCC.org, and simply choose online giving. Or you can text REHABWorks to 336-642-3210. And we want to challenge you to give an offering, give your tithes, sow an offering seed, and we know God will bless you. Good measure, pressed down, shaking together. He'll send people into your life to be a blessing to you because of the way you've given. Listen, I want to challenge you to like, share, subscribe. Like this video, share this video, subscribe to our channels. And then I want you to make plans to meet us this Sunday for part number 4. We're on part 4, and it's going to be another good one. Part 4 of 5 things that are destroying your life. Make plans to meet us then. We can't wait to share with you. Don't forget the scripture for the week. Hope you've been reading it. Galatians chapter 6. The scripture for the week is Galatians chapter 6. Make plans to join us Thursday for Explanation Thursdays exclusively on Instagram. You can follow it there. Share that video on Instagram. Tag us, tag the church, tag everybody, tag your friends. We're going to give a 5-minute explanation of Galatians chapter 6, which is a very powerful book. Another one of my favorite chapters in the Bible. I want you to read that, study it, meditate on it, and then make plans to join us again this Sunday, 9:08 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, right here at the Rehab Christian Center. Listen, y'all, thank y'all for tuning in at a later time tonight. Really, I'm grateful for those of you, the handful of you that tune in tonight. And I love you. I'm praying for you. I'm rooting for you. Have a fantastic week, and we will see you Sunday for part 4 of 5 things destroying your life. I love you, praying for you, rooting for you. Have a fantastic week.
For watching the Rehab Christian Center live experience. If this broadcast has been a blessing to you and you would like to be a blessing to our leader, Dr. Zeb Talley III, you can sow a seed into his ministry by Cash App at $Pastor ZT3. It is our prayer that this message of hope encourage, enlighten, and empower you to be better. Please tune in Sunday at 9:08 a.m. for our Sunday morning experience. And as always, be blessed.